What's up, guys? Hey, welcome back to another episode of the College Prep Chat, where we look to decipher what a high school athlete needs to do if they want to hit the ground running on day one at the college level. So to do that, we're bringing on industry-leading collegiate strength and conditioning coaches to give us their insight on what you need to do to be ready for the college level. In today's interview, we've got Coach Conor Hughes from Army West Point with us, and very excited to have him on here. Coach Hughes, thank you so much for coming on, man.
No, thanks for having me. I'm excited to do it. I'm fired up today. So
awesome. Well, give us a little background on what you do now and your path to get to where you're at.
Sure, and I'll be brief because I could go on for hours. But I'm the head football strength and conditioning coach at the university. At West Point for the Army football team, and before that, I was the head football strength coach for the University of Albany in New York for 6 or 7 years. Before that, I was the head strength coach at Iona College for a full year. I did my GA and my master's at the University of Albany, and I played Division III football at Springfield College. There's no Division IV. So if you can't play in the D3 level, you can't play anywhere. And I was an average offensive lineman, so that says something about my athletic ability. So
Springfield College, for those of you guys who aren't watching, is like going to Alabama as a strength coach. I feel like half the strength coaches that I talk to are Springfield alum, man. It's a
little bit, absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's in Massachusetts, right?
Yeah, it's in Springfield, Massachusetts. So it's about I grew up in Boston, and it's about an hour and a half west of Boston.
Okay, awesome, yep. Awesome. So we'll jump right into our interview questions and get this ball rolling, Coach.
Sure, absolutely.
So to start out, let's say you've got a new athlete that's come into your program, right? Let's say he's done his first week training with you guys. And as a staff, you guys are sitting around the office and you're talking about the new athletes into the program. What do you want to be able to say about that kid in terms of how they showed up, their work ethic, that type of stuff?
So it'll be really basic, especially for what we're looking for in the first week. We want to make sure guys can show up on time, that they're wearing the right gear, that their shoes are tied, and that they have laser sharp focus on what we're trying to accomplish for the day. We need guys, especially at the collegiate level, especially here, we need guys that can follow instructions. So if we tell them to touch this line, or we tell them, hey, start with your right leg, we got to make sure that they're doing that every single time. That they work hard, that no matter what exercise we give them, what teaching point we give them, they can take that coaching cue and actually apply it. Have some sort of kinesthetic awareness where they understand the right from their left, and they understand just how to move their body in space. We need guys that can keep their composure. So when one of their teammates is doing something wrong, they don't crumble. If one of their teammates, if we're doing a reverse lunge and it's everybody together and they count out, if they say the wrong number or they leave with the wrong leg, that they don't freak out and start either screaming and yelling at them. They can make a quick correction if we don't see it as coaches, or that they don't themselves get totally thrown off by the fact that he screwed up, that then they screw it up. So that's really it. It's about focus, and it's just about their mentality and showing up. And if they do that, we'll be really happy as strength coaches.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I think the big thing, with the athletes that I work with being, kind of 12 to 18-year-old athletes is the following instruction side of things of like, every little detail matters. Like you said, knowing your right from your left, if you guys are all going on the same time, paying attention and being able to do that is such a big thing, especially when you're looking at how you're going to make a first impression, how you're going to show up and present yourself is extremely important. So that's phenomenal, Coach.
And a tip for coaches, if coaches are watching this, is really too, is to not load them with too much information. And the way we run our lifts in here is we're going to do the dynamic warm up. We're going to do our FRC. Both of those are coach led. Then when we go into, say, we start with our Olympic lift, I'll bring them up. I'll tell them every set and rep, exactly the technique. And we're in week 4 of the summer. These guys have been here for 3 years. I'm still talking about the technique we do in the clean, talking about the sets and reps, talking about percentages. Then we lead them through the clean. Once that's done, we lead them through the squat. Once that's done, we lead them through the accessories. So every time we change from clean to squat to accessories, I bring it back up and I explain exactly what we're going to do over the next 8 to 9 minutes. And it because I know, and we have laser sharp guys here at West Point. These guys are locked in, but they're not going to remember the coaching point I put up for an RDL if I made it 15 minutes ago before they cleaned and they squatted. They're going to forget. So it's also part of our job and coaches to make sure that we're not overloading them with information.
Yeah. That's one of the things I talk to my coaching staff about is, crystal clear expectations, right? Clean instructions. And then also the notion that the inmates can't run the asylum, right? So that you've got to have that kind of overarching control. Yeah, obviously you don't want to be overbearing with them, but that overarching control that, like, this is where you're going, this is how we're going to do it. And then that reinforcement of the coaching cues, so that they learn how to do it the right way over time.
Absolutely. And being the same guy every single day, no matter what's going on in your personal life, no matter if you're tired, you didn't get any sleep, whatever the deal is being that rock every day in the weight room it's going to help them. Because if you're crazy high one day and then low the other day, the guys don't know what to expect from you. So being the exact same person every day and doing your best to do that and maintaining a standard at all times. If you maintain the standard at all times, you never have to come down and just lock them in on the standard, because it's what you do every single day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, setting the tone for what's
exactly.
going to go on, and the athletes are going to feed off your energy. And even if you've got the world on your shoulders outside of there, being able to turn it off and focus just on what's in front of you, that's phenomenal. Especially because I know a lot of coaches are going to be watching this. Hopefully, high school coaches are going to be watching this, and that's something that I think is super important, because athletes, they need that consistency, and they need to know when they walk in the door of your gym or your training facility, it is time to go.
100%. 100%.
I love it.
We're on the same page.
Yeah.
Yep.
One thing I've noticed from, obviously I've seen your social media videos, is it looks like your guys love to train. Like, it looks like your guys have passion for when they're training, and when they do, right, that passion transfers over to their intent on their lifts. I think that's a phenomenal thing. And to your point about being the same guy, like that's led by the coach setting the tone for it, man. That's awesome.
Absolutely. Appreciate that.
Right. Now, looking at the athlete from a nutrition and hydration, sleep standpoint, what are some actionable items that you can provide for us about what athletes can do to maximize their performance when we're looking at their recovery, their nutrition, and their hydration?
Sure. And nutrition and recovery and sleep at this point, and I'll be real with you, everybody knows what to do. It's being disciplined and doing it every single day. The basic guidance, obviously, eating whole foods, and then you can go into as much detail as you want about how many carbohydrates you need, how much protein you need, how much fat you can, but it's about eating good quality whole foods. I tell our guys, whenever they eat a meal, whenever they eat a snack, they want a high quality protein with that snack, with that meal. So at every single meal, they should be taking in protein. They should be taking carbohydrates. If they're training in a hot environment, up here in the summer, it's going to be 85 degrees and humid today, so it's going to be hot. I tell our guys that every meal they should be salting their food. For every sports drink that they drink, they should drink double the amount of water. So if they drink a Gatorade, they should be drinking, if they drink a 20-ounce Gatorade, they should be drinking 40 ounces of water. We try to discourage any sort of soda, because it's just going to dehydrate them. I know more guys are going into the caffeine part, and caffeine's okay for a college athlete if they're taking in a cup of coffee before the workout. I think that's fine. Where you go run into trouble is with these new kind of the supplements that have, you don't know how much caffeine, you don't know what other stimulants are in there, you don't know what other kind of crap is in there. So guys ask me about supplements all the time. The one supplement I'll recommend to everyone is creatine monohydrate, and it's gonna help them recover. It's gonna help them train harder and be able to develop more strength in a shorter amount of time, but it's also going to help them cognitively. It's the most studied supplement that they've ever studied, and it really doesn't have any disadvantages to taking it, but it will help them. And the general guideline I tell the guys for protein is, and it might sound high, but you're never going to really run into trouble going higher on protein than you are carbohydrates or fats, or is 1 kilogram of or 1 gram, sorry, not kilogram, 1 gram of protein for every pound that they want to weigh. So if a guy wants to weigh 225 pounds, he's 215 right now. Every day he should be trying to get in 225 grams of protein, along with adequate carbohydrate and adequate fat source. And really just carrying around a water bottle or a gallon jug of water, that's going to keep them drinking all day and keep them hydrated. It can get way into the minutia, but if you're doing 90% of the stuff right in nutrition, it's going to take care of itself. But getting to sleep at night is critical. And trying to get 8 to 10 hours of sleep every single night. Just before we popped on, you asked me about the morning training, and sometimes we do have to train in the morning. Sometimes there's no other way we can get our training session in. But we've removed a lot of our morning training just so that our guys can get to bed and be able to wake up at a reasonable hour so they can get that 8 to 10 hours of sleep.
Yeah. I heard a quote the other day that said, they were talking about mental toughness, and they're like, real mental toughness is going to bed on time without your phone and waking up and having breakfast every single day. Like,
absolutely,
being consistent with that. I'll take that over just about anything when it comes to developing young athletes. 100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome, Coach. Now, let's say you could go back and talk to yourself at 16 years old. Being that you played collegially, what's some advice that you might give to yourself to set you up so that when you did walk into Springfield College, you're more prepared than you might have been?
So we're going back 20 years now. So that it's interesting. And this question kind of caught me for a loop when I was reading it and thinking about it. But like the number one thing I would tell my younger self at 36 now is just continue to train your mobility. Because I ignored it for so long. And at this point, I'm a walking disaster. I can still squat, I can still deadlift, I can still bench, but things hurt all the time. So make sure you're on top of your stretching, because it's gonna help you be it's gonna help you be a better human later on in life, but it's also gonna help you stay healthy when you're playing college sports. Listen to the coaches. Your lifting coaches know a hell of a lot more than you do, your strength coaches, than you do about the weight room, about training. Never sacrifice technique for weight. And 15 years ago, when I started college strength and conditioning and started really doing this as a career, high school strength and conditioning has come so far in those 15 years, and so has college strength and conditioning. I used to say I would get 3 types of guys out of high school. Guys who have never trained before, they're really easy to train. Guys who have trained with a good strength coach, they're really easy to train. And the majority of the guys would be guys who went into the weight room and the coaches say, no, add more weight, add more weight, add more weight. We don't care about depth. And they'd be coming up with formulas that, oh no, he squatted deep. And doing things right in high school is going to pay off in the long run. Yeah. And if you don't know how to do an exercise, we're big on the Olympic lifts here. But if a strength coach isn't proficient at teaching the clean, I'd rather not teach the guys to clean until they got here. And I have Olympic caliber, Olympic weightlifters on my staff that teach the clean, that teach the jerk. And it's the impact that those guys can have on those exercises are enormous. But the amount of bad habits you have to break from guys guys from high school or guys from other programs, that it just doesn't look as clean and it isn't as good technique. It's way harder to break bad habits than it is to teach somebody new. So it's really just doing things right and going through a full range of motion, all the exercise, and don't worry about squatting 500 pounds. I don't care when a guy comes in his first week and says, I can squat 500 pounds, because now I ask for the videos and I go, all right, now I know what it looks like that you can't squat 500 pounds. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, but there are some that can, but the majority, it looks terrible. So it's or doesn't look as good as what the standard will be when they're here. So it's about doing things right and listening to your coaches. And the other thing is becoming a student of the game. I think that's the one thing that I didn't do well in my high school and in my college career. I was all about the weights, all about pushing my body, but I didn't watch enough film. I didn't study the game enough. And that, I think it hurt me in my college career. Now, I wasn't going to play pro no matter what, but I could have been a better player and helped my team more if I actually studied the game more.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I think a lot of great takeaways from that, man. Your first point about training mobility, I felt that. I'm 37, man, and it's I was telling my wife, I was like, my wrist, I don't know what's going on.
No doubt.
But same thing, my knees, my hips, my wrists now. Had I trained at 18, 19, and 20, the way that I train now, I feel like John Russin says it. He says more 20-year-olds should train like 40-year-olds, and less 40-year-olds should train like 20-year-olds.
Yeah,
taking care of your body. And the good thing about strength and conditioning having come this far, like at least here in Colorado where I'm just south of Denver, we have some really, really, really good high school strength coaches here.
Absolutely.
And I know like we get kids from almost every high school that comes into our program. And I can tell you, if a kid comes from this school, they're going to be great front squatters. They're going to be great deadlifters. If it comes from this school, like, okay, I know that they're really good at teaching the clean. And I couldn't say that 5 or 6 years ago. And it's to the benefit of the kids that, organizations like the NHSSCA has come along and really built up that high school strength and conditioning side of things. So that way, kids, hopefully they're not 36 and 37 talking about how bad their joints are, here 15, 20 years from now,
And it has come like, and I can't make it, I can't express it bigger than it has come so far in the last 20 years. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. The guys show up now and our job is way easier. Like they know how to clean, they know how to squat, or they know how to do all these exercises. It's a much, much easier job now for us without breaking down all those bad habits. It's come light years in 20 years.
Yeah. It's phenomenal. And we have a lot of schools now that are running middle school programs, for the kids that are going to feed into their schools. And you see their stuff, just like they've got middle school athletes, dumbbell goblet squatting with great technique. Shin angle looks great. Their ankles are looking good. Chest is upright. It's like, okay, now, because I remember when I walked into a high school weight room at 14 and I had, did I lose you?
And right in the middle of that, you went dead for a second. Okay,
am I back now?
Yeah, you're back. Yep.
Cool. What I was saying is, I remember when I walked into a high school weight room, and I had some like 70-year-old O-line coach who we were doing. I think we did a 4x20 back squat. I remember that was my first day. I'd never put a barbell on my back, and of course, you're around older guys, and you want to push yourself. And looking back now, I'm like, fuck,
Yeah.
And I think that's really come a long way, which is phenomenal thing. Awesome. So moving forward, we have what we're calling our rapid fire round. So I'm going to hit you with 5 questions, kind of get an idea for how you think and have a little fun with it as well.
Got it.
All right. So first one, if you're training, what's the best music for you to listen to?
Me personally, or the team?
For you personally.
I'm probably going to be a more outlaw country type music, or the Dropkick Murphys. So the Johnny Cashes, the Jamie Johnsons, the Waylon Jennings, or the Dropkick Murphys. Those are my 2. I got the Boston, like growing up in Boston, love the Dropkick Murphys, but I've found myself being more drawn to outlaw country recently. So
nice. I'm the same way with that outlaw country. The Up Church, and have you heard of Them Dirty Roses? I just started listening to them. They're pretty good.
I'm gonna write that down.
They're not bad. They're kind of like a little West Texas country rock, but they're pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. Now, if you were to choose for yourself, would you rather bench press or back squat?
Oh, it depends on the year. Right now, I'm back squat. I worked up to, if you asked me 5 years ago to bench press, I worked up to 455 was my all-time max on the bench. And like, I don't think I'm ever getting back close to that. I've touched 575 on the squat. I can still squat 5 pretty much any day I walk in the room, but there's just something about getting in there and throwing that bar on your back. And it's you versus that bar, the back squat. It's it for me.
Yeah. Love it.
Yep.
Love it, man. All right. Now, what's the best sports movie of all time, in your opinion?
That's hard. Best. There's so many good ones.
Yes, sir.
All right. People are going to disagree with me and people are going to hate me on this, but I'm going to tell you my favorite one is whatever the newest Rocky was, the one where he was like 50 years old and he was he back and the storylines in that, and that guy fighting back, and the speech he gives in front of the boxing commission about talking about the Bill of Rights, and then the part where he's talking about how he still has some stuff in the basement, that resonated with me so bad that I was like, that's my favorite. And there's better. I know there's better ones out. People love other ones out there. Remember the Titans came to mind, but for me, it's that newest Rocky, and I think it's 6. But that one did it for me.
I think they called it Balboa.
Yeah, that
something
like that.
He gave his son that speech, outside
yes.
he's in the street. And,
keep moving forward. Yeah, absolutely.
Love it. All right. Now, let's say a kid comes into your program. Would you rather him be able to do 20 strict pull-ups or 20 bench press reps at 225?
I'll be honest, 20 reps at 225.
225.
Because normally, and if you normally, guys who can do 20 strict pull-ups coming out of high school aren't over 200 pounds. Normally they're $160 to $180. So if I know a guy can hit 225 for 25 times or 20 times, he's probably going to be pretty damn strong, and he can probably play a whole bunch of different positions for us. He's going to be on the lighter side if he can do 20 strict pull-ups. Now, if he's 250 pounds and he can do 20 strict pull-ups, like, I don't know what I'm going to do with that kid, because he's going to be stronger than any other human being we've ever coached.
Yeah.
Coming at 18. So I got to go with the bench press.
Mm-hmm. A point that a guy we were talking to for this yesterday made, and he went with pull-ups, but the point he made about the bench press is like, you're not hitting 225 or 20 without some strong lats.
No doubt.
If you can do 225 and maybe you're not above, I don't know, 250 pounds, you can probably still do some good pull-ups,
No doubt. And the other thing is, I've never been pulled down to the ground by someone. I might have been, but not as often as I've been legitimately bench press and slam down the ground when there's a stronger person. Like, if a guy can bench 225 for 20, he could probably bench damn near 365. Like, that's a strong human being.
It's a strong man, for sure.
Yep.
Last one in the rapid fire rounds. Is Joey Chestnut the best athlete of all time?
No, absolutely not. I mean, and what he's doing is absolutely impressive, and it's a contest, and he's a competitor. But best athlete of all time, I can't give it to him. Now, I'm happy you didn't put me on the spot of saying who is the best athlete of all time.
No, yeah.
But he's a competitor, absolutely, but he's not the best athlete of all time.
I don't know. Did you see him choke that dude out and he still won?
I did. That was pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So last thing we've got in this is, we're asking everybody to leave us with a quote that inspires you, or a mantra that kind of guides your coaching.
Sure. Let me. It's sitting on my wall. Let me grab it. So it's not exactly a quote. It's a little bit longer than a quote. It's almost a poem, but I'm gonna read it for you if you don't mind. It's Charles Bukowski. You might have heard it before, but it's, if you're going to try, go all the way. Otherwise, don't even start. This could mean losing girlfriends, wives, relatives, and maybe even your mind. It could mean not eating for 3 or 4 days. It could mean freezing on a park bench. It could mean jail. It could mean desertion. It could mean mockery, isolation. Isolation is the gift. All others are a test of your endurance and how much you really want to do it. And you'll do it despite rejection and the worst odds. And it will be better than anything else you can imagine. If you're going to try, go all the way. There is no other feeling like that. You'll be alone with gods and the nights, and will flame with fire. You will ride life straight to perfect laughter. It's the only good fight there is. I love that one.
Man.
Love it.
Yeah. I kind of got the chills from that, man. I'm gonna have to look it up.
No doubt.
That is absolutely phenomenal, and I think if you're gonna do it, go all the way, right?
Yeah,
like if you're gonna do something, don't half-ass it. Let's go 100%, and let's be great at it. If you say you're gonna do it, let's be great at it. I love that, man.
Absolutely.
I absolutely love that. Well, hey, Coach, man, thank you so much for jumping on here. I think there's a ton of stuff that we can take from this, and some actionable things that athletes can use, as they pursue, number one, obviously being great at the high school level, but then also being great as they move in, hopefully, to the collegiate level and working with a guy like yourself.
Absolutely. And I appreciate having me on. It was a lot of fun.
Absolutely, Coach. Well, we'll talk to you soon, and thank you again.